Thank God it finally happened. Neymar is going to the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Perhaps this is one of the greatest gifts football fans could have hoped for, because among all the unfinished stories in the beautiful game, Neymar's journey has always been one of the most heartbreaking and compelling. The 2026 World Cup may be his final dance on football's biggest stage. More importantly, it could be the last time fans witness Neymar sharing the spotlight with the final two icons of a legendary generation, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. That makes this moment even more special when you remember that just a few months ago, as Neymar celebrated his 34th birthday, fans around the world weren't wishing for a Ballon d'Or, a Champions League title, or even a World Cup trophy. They were simply wishing for one thing: that he could stay healthy, that he could play football again without another devastating injury standing in his way. That's why Neymar's inclusion in Brazil's World Cup squad already feels like a victory. Brazil hasn't even played its opening match yet. No one knows whether he'll start games or come off the bench. No one knows how far this journey will go. But none of that feels as important right now. What matters is that Neymar made it here. The last true samba artist, carrying all the magic, creativity and flair that made the world fall in love with Brazilian football, will once again step onto the stage where he belongs, the World Cup. And perhaps this time winning the trophy isn't the heaviest burden on his shoulders. Perhaps the greatest reward is simply being able to enjoy these final moments on the grandest football stage on earth. Neymar deserves a proper farewell. After more than a decade carrying the hopes of an entire nation, after countless surgeries, after all the painful comebacks and heartbreaking setbacks, simply being part of the squad, guiding the younger generation, and experiencing one last World Cup already feels like a fitting reward for everything he has endured. And when Neymar's name appeared on Brazil's final squad list, the country erupted. The official announcement was held in Rio de Janeiro, surrounded by hundreds of journalists and passionate supporters. As head coach Carlo Ancelotti began reading the final names, the room fell silent. Then he paused, just for a moment, long enough to make millions of Brazilian hearts beat a little faster. Neymar Jr. 2 simple words. That was all it took. The room exploded with emotion. Social media erupted. Across Brazil, people celebrated in the streets as if their national team had just scored in a World Cup final. Not because Neymar is currently the best player in the world, but because they understand everything he had to overcome just to reach this point. Not long ago, many believed his international career might already be over. Injuries had robbed him of countless matches and precious years. When Carlo Ancelotti first took charge of Brazil, he repeatedly stated that only fully fit players would be selected. For a while, that seemed like terrible news for Neymar. The World Cup dream appeared to be slipping away. But Neymar refused to give up. He returned to Santos. He returned home, back to the place where everything began, and there he rediscovered something many feared had been lost: his joy. The goals returned, the assists returned, and most importantly, the smile returned. People started seeing a version of Neymar that reminded them of his younger days. Free, creative, fearless. A footballer playing with pure happiness once again. Not a superstar crushed beneath impossible expectations, not the saviour of an entire football nation, just a boy who loved the ball at his feet. Perhaps that was one of the reasons Ancelotti changed his mind, because Neymar still had something valuable to offer. Not only his talent, but also his experience, his leadership, and his ability to inspire everyone around him. Still, the Italian manager made one thing very clear: Neymar would receive no special treatment. He could start, he could sit on the bench, he could come on as a substitute, or he might not play at all, because in this Brazil team nobody stands above the collective. That is a lesson Brazilian football learned through years of heartbreak. For more than a decade, Neymar carried responsibilities that should never have belonged to one player alone. From the 2014 World Cup on home soil to Russia in 2018 to Qatar in 2022, every tournament left another scar. Every elimination ended with tears. He cried from pressure. He cried from pain. He cried from helplessness. But this time feels different. For the first time in years, Neymar won't have to fight alone. Around him stands a new generation of stars. Vinicius Jr., Rafinha, Rodrigo, Matheus Cunha, Endrick, players capable of sharing the burden Neymar carried for so long. And that is exactly what Brazilian legends always wanted to see, because Brazil has always been at its strongest when victory belongs to a team, not to a single individual. Neymar understands that now. And perhaps that is why the 2026 World Cup feels so different. It is no longer about proving himself. It is no longer about becoming the hero. It is about enjoying the journey, enjoying every match, every touch of the ball. Every moment wearing Brazil's famous yellow shirt on football's biggest stage one final time. Neymar has already experienced enough glory. He has already endured enough pain. His place in Brazilian football history is secure. But more than trophies or records, what fans truly want today is something much simpler. They want to see that number 10 smiling again. They want to watch him dance past defenders one more time. They want to witness those moments of brilliance that make entire stadiums gasp in amazement. They want to see the boy from Vila Belmiro playing football with the same joy that first captured the world's imagination. And if this truly is Neymar's final World Cup chapter, then it deserves a worthy ending. Not necessarily a golden trophy, not necessarily immortality, just a beautiful farewell for an artist who gave everything to Brazilian football, because sometimes, after everything, a player has suffered. Simply making it back to football's biggest stage is already a victory.